Hey everybody, thanks for joining me today. I'm Brother Joe here at Altona, and I just want to take a minute and talk about forgiveness. Not about you forgiving people. I've talked about that subject a couple of times. I don't think we can talk about it enough because in extending forgiveness, it's one of those powerful things where we set ourselves free. But I want to go a little more personal and talk about when we ask for forgiveness. I think one of the hardest things to do, and I don't think it's just man or adult, or I think the hardest thing to do in life is to look at somebody and acknowledge you're wrong. It's much easier to make excuses. It's much easier to shift blame. You go all the way back to the Garden of Eden when God says to Adam, "What have you done?" And that woman you gave me. And he didn't even just blame Eve. He actually blamed God. You put her here. And so it's a natural thing for us. It's a response to shift blame, but instead of acknowledge wrong. And so one of the problems with that is we can't grow. Not only can we not grow, we damage relationships around us, and it's like we hold on to whatever that error is in our life or whatever that sin is. I watch it all the time. I watch young people growing up with parents who are stuck in an addiction, and they hate it. They hate the fact of the impact that it has on their life. They hate that they show up to school. Their parents don't help them take care of the way they look or the way that they everything about the impact. They despise it, and what they do is they wind up becoming that parent. And I watch it happen, and I go, how can you do that? But the truth is, what they need to they need to forgive that parent. What needs to happen is that parent needs to come to them and sit down and say, I was wrong. As your parent, I failed you and didn't do what I needed to do. What we do when we don't do that, when we don't sit down and say, I messed that up, that wasn't the way that should have been handled, is that we hold on to that. I'll never forget, I can't even remember what I was doing, but I got stabbed by a stick in the back of my tricep back here. And I pulled it out, and it bled real bad, and I did what anybody would do. I poured some rubbing alcohol on it and stuck a shop rag on it and wrapped some tape around my arm and went on about what I was doing. And that night, it had quit bleeding, and I showered and cleaned it and went on, and it just kept hurting more and hurting more and hurting more. And finally, about 3 weeks later, I went to the doctor and told him the story, and she looked, and my doctor looked at it, and she said, Joe, there's a chunk of something up in your arm. You have tried to heal, and what you've done is you've healed around that, and you've made a pocket of infection down inside your arm. And so then she had to open it up and clean it out, and it was a much longer and more painful process. If I'd have made sure it got cleaned out to begin with, you see, I couldn't move forward. I couldn't just say it'll be okay. I needed to get that out of there. And so what I need to do when I make mistakes, when I make crucial mistakes where I harm people, I need to go sit down and say, I didn't handle that right, and I'm sorry, I need you to forgive me. Because if I don't do that, what I do is just put one more burden on our relationship and on their view of who Christ is and what grace looks like. And so I have to be not only a master repenter and a master forgiver. I have to both be asking for forgiveness from God and from the people around me, because I'm going to live an errored life. It's full of errors and mistakes. And the question is, how am I going to handle those errors? Are I going to blame other people for them? Am I going to ignore them and act like they're not there? Or am I going to say, yeah, I'm full of errors and mistakes, and as I go through this life, I'm going to keep acknowledging them, asking for forgiveness for them, and trying to grow from them. I think that's the Christian, the Christ-like way to handle it, and I hope that you'll take a little bit of time and look in your life and look in the relationships around you and say, there's probably some people in my life that I have put some burdens in our relationships from mistakes I've made, that I need to go back and acknowledge those mistakes and set them free from that burden. I hope you'll take some time and consider that, pray about it, and seek to fix the things that acknowledge the mistakes we've made and repair the relationships we've harmed. I'm Brother Joe, and I appreciate you joining me today. I hope you'll hit like or share, tag a few friends in it, and open a discussion on what it looks like to ask for forgiveness. I hope I get to see you on Sunday.